All right, let's get to these games real quick. We got one game for the first segment. Colts-Falcons. Falcons, game back when it comes to winning the NFC South and getting into the playoffs. Colts, Shane Steichen, they're getting it done over there. All right, the Falcons also favored in this game, though, by 2.5. They're not trusting in Gardner Minshew over under 44.5. Dev, I'll start with you. What do you like out of this game?
So the Falcons, we're in week 16 of the NFL, and it's like they're changing their quarterback again. Taylor Heineke is starting this game, I believe. Am I correct on that? I just think that the Colts have a more consistent offense. I mean, I know Gardner Minshew's the backup, but he's been doing well for them. I think Shane Steichen has a good thing going. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to have Jonathan Taylor back as running back.
Yep, he is back. Yep.
I just think the Colts are the better team in this one. The Falcons are at home, so that's why they're favored. But I mean, I'm taking the Colts plus 2.5.
I'm even still surprised, despite being at home, that they're favored in this.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. I think
I'm
the Colts
definitely
are the better
surprised. Team. Exactly. And I mean, you just put it up there. Stop messing with Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew says he's a starter. He's not trying to hear anything else. I like all props with Gardner Minshew also. Even at 4.5 rushing. I would take that. Gardner Minshew is playing at high. He is playing his way into trying to be a starting quarterback somewhere. So he's going to give you everything. So with that, I'm going to get Pittman also. 73.5. He'll do it against that defense and those DBs. He'll do that. I also like Drake London, 53.5. Because he's really their only consistent target that they've been, using in Atlanta. So I'm not touching any of the Tyler Algiers. I'm not touching Bijan Robinson. I'm not touching them either. You know what I mean? I don't think their head coach makes it to the end of the season. I think they'll make it to the end of the season, but I think he won't make it to the next season. I think they're going to fire him also. They already said that, we'll evaluate. We'll evaluate at the end of the season. So I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch anything Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Besides Drake London. He's the only thing they got going on. So I'm going with the points. I'm going with the points with the Colts.
Yeah, me too. Colts. You know what I mean? Like, they're on a roll. They're playing good football. Atlanta Falcons have been shaky. Again, Tyler Heineke is going to be starting in this game. Bijan Robinson has been pretty consistent in regards to betting him, but again, even last game it was Tyler Algier who got off, and Bijan Robinson didn't get off. So
I think I'm just I'm so over betting on either one of them because it's always the opposite one who goes off.
Yeah, jaded.
Loses my parlay every time.
Every single time. So again,
don't sleep on Tyler Heineke though. I'm gonna say,
he's all right.
Yeah, he's all right,
but he ain't real. Old Jay-Z quote. So again, I'm going Gardner Minshew over 219.5 yards. I think he airs it out, has a pretty good game. Also, 2 touchdowns for him. I'm also going to go with that. I think he's going to have a good game. Also, getting it to Michael Pittman.
No question.
73.5. I think those 3 things are going to happen, and they're going to be able to combine for a bunch of points. All right, let's get to it. Seahawks-Titans is the next game that we're talking about. Seahawks-Titans. Seahawks favored in this game by 3, over under 41.5. Geno Smith fully back. So despite Drew Lock having, I'm not going to say spectacular performance, but a good performance last week, he's back to the bench. Geno's fully healthy, and that's good for the Seattle Seahawks, who are trying to make the playoffs. Barrett, I'll start with you in this game. Titans, Seahawks, what do you like? And by the way, Titans, not making the playoffs, but always feisty under Mike Vrabel.
Oh, and that's why I'm going with the Titans. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going with Titans.
Is that Eagle hate? Is that because the Eagles lost, so you feel like they need to get back? Like you room for the Titans because of that? Just check it.
Maybe just a little bit, but no. Realistically, they can't stop the run. The Seattle's defense can't stop the run, and they need a good dose of Derrick Henry. Although he didn't do anything last week,
literally 9 yards last.
Exactly.
Week.
So he's going to make up for that. They're not going to sign him back next year, so he's trying to interview for other teams. And I'm going to take the 64.5 rushing with him. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's an easy bet. But I'm also going to go, since they got the rookie playing, man, I'm going with Hopkins, 64.5. He shows his butt. This is a game in which I believe the Titans are going to win this game. So put your money on it. Let me write it down. Titans +3. I got them.
I don't know, big dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the opposite side.
I knew it.
I got no hate.
Surprise pick.
I got no hate for the Seahawks because that loss for the Eagles was all the Eagles' fault and nothing against Seattle, who played a decent game. So I like Seattle winning. I like them covering the spread. They've just got all the momentum in their favor. They're pushing towards the playoffs. And then, as you mentioned, you look at what Derrick Henry was not able to do last week. The Seahawks are going to be going against a Titans defense that just gave up 121 yards on the ground to Devin Singletary. So I think that the Seahawks, while their rush defense isn't great, they can still, do a lot more offensively, especially with Geno Smith back in against the Titans defense. So taking Seahawks plus the points.
Yeah, and the Seahawks stepped up against the Eagles last week defensively, right? And I know a lot of that were Eagles.
They played
that was the Eagles' offense forgetting how to play football.
But again, but the plays had to be made, and they made them. Despite whatever mistakes the Eagles had, Julian Love, that interception was incredible, right? So I think they've stepped up and played pretty well. And again, you're talking about a three-headed monster and wide receivers that they had with DK, Tyler Lockett, and Smith and Jigbu. Like, they are talented roster. So you bring Geno Smith back, I think they're going to be able to outscore the Titans and do what they want with that wide receiver core.
I wrote it down.
I know you wrote it down, but I like those individuals in this game. I like DK Metcalf over 62.5 in this game. I even like Tyler Lockett over 49.5.
Well, he's from Kansas State. He's from Kansas State, though.
Oh, you respect the K-State people. You respect those individuals. So I think this, and again, the Seahawks are in the A spot when it comes to the standings right now. So they need this game, while the Titans, again, when you have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day games, some cats are checking out, dog.
No question.
It's the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Like, Barrett, if you have to play on Christmas or Christmas Eve,
I did,
and you're on a bad team, how many of the players in that locker room are checked out because they just want to get home?
Well, it's kind of messed up because after I left the Eagles, I played for Detroit, Green Bay, Giants, and Steelers. That's Thanksgiving, every Christmas. Then I will go to the next team every Thanksgiving, every New Year's. And then I go to the next team every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, and every New Year's with the Steelers. I never missed a holiday the last half of my career. Never. So playing on those days when I was on a bad team, like Detroit, you were like, I am kind of hungry. I can't wait till we get out of here.
You see what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Let's go get some of this turkey.
You're going to have some checked out teams. And Seahawks are all in, and the Titans going to be checked out. It's Christmas. Let me get home and unwrap my gifts, man, and have me a little short vacation.
But you do. You got a head coach that's going to get them guys fired up. Respect, man. Respect means a lot to players. Hopkins going to be like, hey, give me the rock. Just give me the rock. Don't worry about anything else. Just give me the rock. He going to take that game over.
All right.
I wrote it down.
Write it down. We're going to see about it. Next game, we have that, marbles on the line. Vikings trying to make the playoffs. Lions trying to get a 2 seed, 1 seed, some seed up top if they can. The Lions favored in this game against the Vikings. It's at Minnesota. The Lions favored by 3, over under 47 in this game. Dev, starting with you. Who do you like in this game? What props are you sort of looking at?
I think the Lions are just a better team here. I mean, their record shows it. They're playing for a bit more. I think that they kind of hit a dry spell on Thanksgiving, but they bounced back. They kind of had a get-right game against the Broncos last week. They crushed them 42-17. I just don't think Minnesota has the talent to really keep up with the Lions offense. I mean, the Lions offense, there's so many assets that they have. If one goes down, another one pops up. So I just don't think the Vikings defense can really contain that, regardless of how many flaws the Lions defense has. So I like the Lions. I'm surprised this line is as small as it is. I'm guessing because it's home game for the Vikings.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm tripping off that also.
Yeah, like I think the Lions are going to easily cover that.
Yeah, and this, once again, battle of the tight ends. I love my tight ends. This battle of the Iowa tight ends. Laporta, Hawkinson. I mean, I'm going both of their props on receiving yards. 53.5 with T.J. Hawkins. Laporta, 47.5. That's easy money. But when you look at this game, I just don't think that Minnesota really, even though they're trying to play for a playoff spot, I don't think that they really have enough to really go out there and really give them anything, especially with the way, I'm on St. Brown. I love that kid, man. I mean, he's one of the most consistent receivers in the league right now. One of the most consistent. So I'm going with his props, 77.5. But, you can't count Justin Jefferson out either. You know what I'm saying? With 79.5, it doesn't matter who's throwing to him. He's going to make it happen. So those are the props I'm going with. Those receivers and those tight ends are just what I think are easy bets for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's Nick Mullins. Mm-hmm. And he played pretty well last week, but it's Nick Mullins. I mean, what are we doing here, right? Like the Minnesota Vikings, it was great story to see Josh Dobbs and they were figuring things out without Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. But I can't see them continuing to win games and continuing to do well. Again, Justin Jefferson's a beast, but when the Lions say, all right, we're just going to take away Justin Jefferson and we're going to take away T.J. Hockenson, is Mullins going to be able to scan the field and get it done, right? Like
former Eagle quarterback.
Yeah, he got cut.
Is he?
Yeah, he played.
When?
Exactly. That's the point.
Right.
He got cut quick. Right?
Really
he got
quick.
cut quick.
Really quick.
Kyle Shanahan made him look decent when he was over there. They thought, all right, we got a backup quarterback. Brought him in. He didn't even make it through training camp.
They got us.
So
he was the worst.
So no. Again, and shout out to him still having a career and played pretty well last week.
Right.
But I can't see it happening. Jahmyr Gibbs has been balling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he has.
I'm gonna go Jahmyr Gibbs. Might be one of my only anytime tutties. You got to let me know because you the queen of anytime tutties.
Well, I would go with the opposite though. I would go with David Montgomery anytime tutty.
So that's always whenever I bet on the Lions, those two are always the two that I have a hard time deciding between.
You're
I
right.
don't know who has more touchdowns to the date. I want to say Jahmyr Gibbs does.
He's been balling too, man. So that's why it's really hard, going with either one of them.
It really is. It really is hard to choose between those two because they're both so good. But that's a big reason why it's hard to pick against the Lions because not only do you have David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, you also have Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like the list just keeps going for that Lions offense. Where the Vikings, it's like T.J. Hockenson.
Montgomery has 10 TDs and Jahmyr Gibbs has 7. And oh, by the way, there's a chance that both of those individuals get 1,000 yards. David Montgomery has 855. Jahmyr Gibbs has 792 on the season.
Wow.
So 2 individuals that can
4 games left?
With 3 games left. 3 individuals that can broach that, again, David Montgomery needs 145. Jahmyr Gibbs needs 208. Well, so it's definitely something that happens. I think both of these individuals are going to get fed. I think this game gets out of hand a little bit, and both of those individuals get 12 to 15 carries in this game, which is enough for me to have Jahmyr Gibbs go over 47.5. And maybe David Montgomery go over 53.5. It may be a situation. And by the way, Sam Laporta has been getting me money. Second half of the season, he's been getting fed. He's been getting yards. He's been getting touchdowns. So I'm going to go with him going over 47.5 also.
But I'm looking at, I always look at golf. I mean, I've been looking at for the past couple of weeks. I've been going with the quarterback rushing yards. Just because, Jared Goff, just a half? Come on now. He going to get more than a half. He's got to get more
That's
than
how low it is, a half a yard. See, those always worry me, though, especially with the quarterback like Jared Goff.
Plus 105.
There's a reason that that's what the odds are.
And most of the time it's 0 or negative.
Yeah. Because, you do see that number and you're like, oh, my God, piece of cake.
Yes. I'm like, oh. And then they'll kneel.
It always gets you.
They'll kneel 3 times and it's like,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That kneel will kill you.
Yeah,
that kneel will absolutely kill you. Let's go to the next game. Commanders Jets. Okay.
Commanders.
We got to talk about it. Commanders Jets. Commanders 4-10. Jets 5-9. Jets -3 in this game. They are favored. Over under is 37. The one thing that I'm gonna go with is the under on this game. You know what I mean? And the under has hit a lot. I don't know if y'all realize the under on point totals have hit a lot this season.
Yeah.
This is a game where I think it's the under. The Jets defense will play okay. Commanders, again, they've quit ever since the trade deadline, since they traded away Chase and Montez.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Dev, I'll start with you. Commanders, Jets. What do you think about these teams, man?
I mean, I don't know why you aren't excited. This is a battle between the last-ranked defense and the last-ranked offense. It's electric stuff. Yeah. I'm going to be tuning in. Honestly, how I don't understand how the Jets are 3-point favorites both of these teams like aren't great, but they still are literally like the worst offense out. Like they can't score.
Right.
They just got shut out by the
Mhm.
Dolphins. If I have to take a side in this one, I'm going to go with the Commanders, just because the Jets have a complete inability to score. Although I guess like they'll be put to the test this weekend or week against the last ranked defense in the Commanders. Yeah, that's all I got. Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown.
Okay.
Because why not?
Because why not? And remember, for the Jets, it's not even Zach Wilson, it's Trevor Siemian.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I would go do anything, I would go rushing yards with Bryce Hall, 47.5. And then I would also go with it's still because I can't even go with a tight end. You know, I mean, because I would love to go Logan Thomas, and I just can't do it. So to me, I'm going Jets. I'm going opposite of you. I'm going Jets. So because they have a really, really good defense. And that's the only reason why I do it. They got a really good defense, and nothing on Washington's squad is really, really good. Nothing on the Jets offense is really, really good. So I think it kind of cancels each other out with the exception of their defense, and that's why I'm going with the Jets defense. So I'm going to go over rushing yards, 47.5, Bryce Hall, and that's the only thing else I would go with. I'm scared of everything else.
Yeah, Brees Hall, that's it. 47.5, and Washington's 12.5. Yeah, with Trevor Siemian down there, they're going to give him the rock. I know they, can have a running back by committee situation, but I think he's going to be the main ball carrier. So 47.5 and 12.5 attempts. I think those are only two things I feel safe with in this game with these quarterbacks. Again, I know Sam Howell was throwing for a lot of yards earlier in the season, but the second half of the season has been the total opposite. So you can't count on him to have a big yardage type of game anymore. Aaron Rodgers, let's address him real quick.
Well, he's not addressing anything because he's not dressing. He's not playing this year, period. Why?
And you were never going to play. That was the entire beef.
But then what was the point of was it Aaron Rodgers or was it the Jets or the NFL in general kind of like hyping up his return? Like that's what I understand. Like why would you tease like, oh, he might be ready to go by the end of the season?
I think that's all Aaron Rodgers acting like
wanting
the attention.
Yes.
And look at me, I may come back.
And that's why
wanting to stay in the news cycle. Because, again, he was never going to play.
No.
At any point, even if the team had a playoff shot at the end of the season, he wasn't going to play with that injury. We were all like, oh, it's magical. Look, he's walking around. Like, stop it. Yeah. I know people who've gotten their Achilles ruptured multiple times and was able to walk around and throw a ball. You know what I mean? A month and a half out. That don't mean they can cut or plant. Right, and everybody like, look at him. Look at the new
look at him.
Technology.
He's just throwing the ball like that. Man, come on. Man.
Knock it off, Aaron Rodgers. So, I think we all love knocking Aaron Rodgers on this program. So you had to bring him up. But the interesting thing is everything I've listened to is what is the Jets' future? Like, what is their future? Do they fire their coach? Do they fire their coordinator? Or they just got to say, we got to run it back with Aaron Rodgers?
I think
see what Aaron Rodgers gives.
Yeah, they got to run it back with A-Rod, see what he can do. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. They are literally a quarterback away.
But so why do they have the last ranked offense then? Because like they've changed
Wilson
their quarterback
sucked.
now.
Wilson
but like
always did suck.
I just feel like there's still maybe it's like the coordinator because they do have the talent. Like
yes.
I don't know. And
Hackett is a Rodgers guy, so he can run stuff with that offense with A-Rod that he can't do with Wilson. Wilson just sucks. I knew he sucked when I was watching him in college at BYU. He was horrible at BYU. He was horrible because he never ran the offense. He was always one of those guys, get out the pocket, improvise, and then push the ball down the field. He wasn't a system guy, so no.
Panthers on a winning streak.
Yay.
Panthers getting it done. Winning a game 9-7. We didn't mention that when we mentioned the Falcons last time, which is the reason why I can't pick the Falcons. 9-7 against the Panthers. That's a problem. Panthers win a game 9-7, now taking on the Packers team with injuries all over the place. Listen, when Kev sent us the injuries, I thought it was just a roster report. I didn't actually realize it was all the injured players. Jair Alexander, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Owens, Jaden Reed. Like, it's a whole but Christian Watson, right? A whole starting squad is injured for this team. Luckily, they're playing the Panthers, so it shouldn't really matter. But
bro, they got it's not like just single injuries, though. It's like double injuries. Mm-hmm. toe and chest.
Did you?
know?
Isn't Jonathan Owens the guy who's married to Simone Biles?
Yes,
I think so.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Did
yes.
you see? All right, we can just a sidebar for a second. Did you see when he was talking about like when they started dating, he didn't know who she was?
Lies.
And he was like,
lies you
he was
tell.
like, I was like, I'm the catch. I'm like, you're dating Simone. This is Simone. Like,
Right.
first of all, how did you not be in sports and not know who Simone Biles is,
Yeah.
and not quickly realize?
How'd they meet?
I didn't see the whole interview. I actually think from what I'm seeing on Twitter, like they met on like a app.
That's
Okay,
Like
but if they
real.
met on
Simone
an app,
Biles
then-
was on a dating
But that's
app.
why I'm
I don't
asking
know.
because that's like what's the
I don't-
first thing you do when you meet someone on an app? You stalk their social media.
Yeah,
You can't stalk
maybe.
her
See,
social media without
yeah,
seeing
yeah,
that
yeah.
she's like a mega
Yeah. But
athlete.
and if you met her in person, like there's no way there's not gangs of individuals. So I can't comment too much because I didn't see the details on how they met. But he was acting like I didn't know who she was, and I was like,
Stop lying, bro. You look at her and she's got muscles in her muscles. You know what I'm saying? Her back looks like a map with all her muscles. Caves and she's got hills and mountains on her back, and her shoulders are like broad as his. Come on
it's
now.
like you can't go on one date with that woman and not be like,
can't go anywhere.
you know what I mean? Like
They know
everybody's
who she
like,
is. Yeah.
ain't nobody pointing at you, the football
Right.
player, Jonathan Owens. We point at Simone. All right,
First of all,
she's the prize.
How did he meet her if he's in Green Bay? Because I played in Green Bay, and there's nothing in Green Bay.
Yeah.
In
That's
fact,
a good point.
I mean,
And they answered all these questions in their interview. I just didn't listen to the interview because I was like, all right, dude. But
the lies you tell. bro.
exactly.
But I'm gonna tell you this though. This is how you know it's bad. You're a $25 million running back for the Panthers. His rushing yardage, 19.5 rushing for total yardage
Miles
in this
Sanders hasn't really played all season long.
game. Miles Sanders, 19.5. Come on, are you?
You know what? I actually think I had him in a parlay for whatever reason because I'm like sick in the head last week and it didn't even hit. It was like 25 yards or I
Of
don't
course
know.
not. He's not
Sounds
getting
ridiculous,
any-
He
right?
had like 0.
Any carries. So Dev, any way the Panthers get an upset with all those injuries the Packers have?
No.
Nah.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? They got their second win of the season in a thrilling, high-scoring affair last week, and I just don't. Even with all of the injuries, it is in Carolina, so like you don't have the Green Bay weather as a factor. I guess that's the one thing going for Carolina. But I just think even with the injuries, the Packers. I don't even want to say the Packers are a better team. The Panthers are the worst team. The Panthers are terrible.
And you know what's bad? No matter, you could be like, all right, were they trying to lose for their first round pick? They don't have their first round pick.
Yeah.
So they're going out there to play for pride. They're trying to win games because they're not going to get that pick anyways. So, I mean, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's terrible, man. 19.5 yards rushing. Bryce Young, 13.5. But there's nobody going to be rushing the passer. Everybody's, either out. This game right here, man, you can't really touch this game. I wouldn't at this point. If anything, I mean, could you go with Adam Thielen, 47.5?
No. No. You just go with the Packers
I
will
would
win.
not recommend
Packers
taking
will win,
any
yes.
props.
Yes.
Like I honestly, even with the Packers, like I don't think I'm gonna. I learned my lesson last week trying to attempt some kind of bet on the Panthers, and I'm just not even gonna touch it.
Right.
Not gonna touch it.
Packers will win. Packers will cover.
Packers will win. They will cover. But you can't even rushing yards, Chuba Hubbard, 71.5. No. That's just way too much. Way too much.
He's been balling.
He has been balling.
It's possible.
But still, I mean, them guys. I've been in this predicament before because I played on an Eagles team. We went 3-13, and I promise you, after about the third game, you're like, third to the last game, you're like, man, this season is long. And I was a rookie too. I mean, no, it was my 4th year in the league, and I'm like, man, I can't wait till free agency start. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm trying to make sure I got great film out there. I'm balling, but I'm like, you know what? We suck this bad. These guys are really like, man, I didn't got my money. I'm not trying to go out there and get hurt. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. It's a laugher. So let's get to games that actually matter. All right, Browns Texans. Browns favored in this game by 3. And the Browns just keep doing it. Like somehow, some way, Joe Flacco steps in. They have 4 different quarterbacks that have game-winning drives this season. 4 different quarterbacks have started and engineered game-winning drives for the Cleveland Browns. They're just get it done behind a fantastic defense, facing a Texan team who got to win. But with their backup quarterback with Case Keenum. C.J. Stroud in concussion protocol still throughout the week. So we'll see where he is at when they actually do play. So it could be Case. It could be C.J. Stroud. If it's Case, they got no shot to me. If it's C.J., well, where's his head at? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens in that game. So
if it's Case, the Texans have no shot.
Excuse me. The Texans have no shot if it's Case.
Yeah.
If C.J. Stroud, then maybe they have a shot. But
they still don't have a Case.
They might. Again, they might. But again, 9-5, 8-6. Does Cleveland Browns still continue to roll?
Yes, they do. They do continue to roll. And in fact, I'm going my tight end props. Njoku's been balling. Njoku's been balling these last 3 games. And then I'm looking at Dalton Schultz. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback. He's going to get his. So 31.5, that's a safe bet. I'm going with Cleveland all the way. Even if the rookie plays, I'm still going with Cleveland because Joe Flacco is just what they need on that team. That stability at the quarterback position only going to make that defense better because he'll keep the offense on the field. They won't be as tired. They'll be methodically going down the field. Amari Cooper will get his 56.5. I'm going with his receiving yards. This would be a great game to bet. Seriously, a great game to bet.
Okay. What do you like, Dev?
I keep going back and forth on picking a side, but I honestly feel like Barrett just sold me, and it was the Joe Flacco piece because like I just feel like the Browns quarterback situation has changed so much throughout this season that it's hard to think of them as like a good stable team. But they are. Right. Like they are. They have
a quarterback, yes.
They have a winning record. Joe Flacco is playing well, and I think I am going to take the Browns plus the points just because the Texans do have a lot of injuries and not just at quarterback. Even if C.J. Stroud does play and is clear to play, you know, they didn't have Nico Collins. They lost Tank Dell for the season. Like, and guys have been stepping up, but I just don't think that they have enough offensive talent to combat that Browns defense that is still playing really well.
You're absolutely right.
So I'm going to take the Browns. I do like Devin Singletary props because the Browns run defense is giving up 4.2 a carry to running backs. So maybe even like Devin Singletary alternate yards, like maybe 40 plus, 50 plus, nothing super out of this world. Taking the Browns. I've just convinced myself. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm on the Browns too. I'm with you. I'm on the Browns too. Again, especially because I think it's going to be Case Keenum. I'm going with the Browns. I'm going with David Njoku over 48.5 yards. I'm going to Amari Cooper over 50 yards with alternative receiving yards. And, again, I think Joe Flacco is going to have 2 touchdowns in this game. So I'm going to throw Joe Flacco in there with 2 passing touchdowns. I think this team's going to play well. Again, the Texans defense hasn't been marquee all year long, right? The offenses have been able to score with them in relative ease. So you match that with the fact that the Browns defense is facing Case Keenum. It ain't going to happen for the Texans. Again, 2 teams vying for playoff spots. The Cleveland Browns look like an absolute lock, especially if they win this game. The Texans going back and forth. Again, if C.J. Stroud comes back next week, maybe they can make a late run and win the last 2. But it's going to be a struggle for them to make the playoffs with how things are breaking down with them. But
with Jacksonville playing right now, it'll be tough for them to make it.
Yeah, and I don't care that it's the Texans are at home because again, you get pretty good money. They had this game being close. Cleveland money line is only minus 150. So just taking that straight up, I think that's a W. Let's go to the next game. Jaguars-Buccaneers. Jaguars.
You know direction I'm going.
Absolutely disappointing, the Jaguars. All right? They've lost consecutive games in a row. I had a clip that they put up last week saying I don't pick teams. Good teams I don't expect to win 2-3 games in a row, so I'm going to bet for that team to win. And the Jaguars and the Philadelphia Eagles made me look stupid. So they both continue to have continued their losing streaks, and that hasn't been a problem. The Buccaneers favored in this game -3. Over-under is 41.5. And the Jaguars are in a situation where it's basically a 3-way tie.
Yep.
A 3-way tie in their division in the AFC South. So they need this game desperately, but so does the Buccaneers. They need it desperately too, especially since the Saints got a win on Thursday. Dev, I'll start with you. Who do you like in this game?
So earlier in the show, we were talking about shows that we just like kind of inexplicably root for, and the Jags were a team that I wanted to see succeed, and I thought that they were a legit team, a legit contender this season. I think was it you Sean, who had them in the Super Bowl or AFC Championship game. And I think that they could have gotten there had they kept their momentum up and stayed healthy. The issue is they're not healthy. Right, like I don't believe we even know if Trevor Lawrence is going to clear concussion protocol, especially after he's already pretty banged up with his ankle injury. So I think the Bucs are just on a roll right now. They have all of the momentum in their favor. The only thing that is holding me back from like confidently saying Bucs -3 is that the Jags have lost 3 in a row, and like I think that they're too good of a team to really slide that far. So it's hard for me to believe that they'll go for 4 in a row. So maybe the Jags can cover the 3-point spread. I don't know. Now I'm really conflicted, but I do think that the Bucs are the better team right now and will likely get the win.
It's hard for me to pick a winner in this game,
right?
But I'll go with props. I mean, my 2 favorite running backs, Rashad White, Travis Etienne. I mean, this is a match made in heaven.
You're still going with Travis Etienne?
I'm going with Travis Etienne.
No.
56 and a half
See,
yards.
Rashad White is my new favorite, but like Travis Etienne, I feel like has been kind of disappointing us.
Yeah, but I'll still go with Rashad White, 72 and a half. I'm going with those props. And then I got to go with the tight ends. I always go with the tight ends. Evan Ingram, 50 and a half. And then you got Cad Oton. He's 22. He's 22 and a half. So I got to go with those two guys.
Kevin says you're crazy.
I know, but still, I got tight ends, running backs. Those are my favorites. I'm going to go with
Look, he stays true to the brand, Kev.
Yes, got to. Ingram and Alton, those are my 2 picks. I'm going to stay with those guys. Receiving yards with those 2 guys and rushing yards with the other 2 guys.
Baker Mayfield's been balling.
Yeah.
We don't want to get that cat credit, but he's been balling, especially over the last couple games. Last game against the Green Bay Packers, 381 with 4 touchdowns. Like the Buccaneers are playing good ball when Baker Mayfield is playing ball that's not turnover. You know what I mean? When he's not turning the ball over, he's getting play action because of Rashad White, and he's being able to get to Mike Evans, who's been one of the most consistent wide receivers in NFL history.
Like, what is that, like NFL, 9 of 1,000 yards or more?
10 in a row, I believe it is, of 1,000 yards to start his career off. He gets 1,000 every year. He gets 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, Mike Evans, every year, and they ball out. So
Hall of Famer?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. He had a perfect passer rating last week in Baker Mayfield. So I think that continues this game with the Jaguars defense that ain't that good anymore. I think Baker Mayfield throws for over 250 yards. I think Mike Evans goes for over 75. I'm betting that alternative receiving yards also. And I'm going to bet a Mike Evans anytime touchdown. Buccaneers roll in this game. I am fully off the Jacksonville Jaguars bandwagon, especially because Trevor Lawrence is shaky and in concussion protocol. So I'm sorry. My faith is going. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday Spread, giving you a little Christmas joy, little Christmas money, so you can, all the gifts that you didn't get, you can win some money and buy the gifts that you actually wanted, and then yell at your friends and your partners for not giving you the gift that you wanted.
Recoup.
You know what I mean? Recoup. All right, let me go out.
We didn't. What are you asking for Christmas?
What am I asking for?
Yeah, you said what you were getting. You never said for other people. You never said what you were asking.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't. Whatever. I don't know.
Like, what is your wife gonna
get you? What hint did you give?
Nothing really.
Nothing. You just gave her no clues.
No. I don't have anything that I like desperately want. There was a hat that I was like, oh, I like that hat. You know what I mean?
So she was gonna get you the hat.
Give me a hat.
Like, oh man, that's a pretty cool hat.
Your brother's a hat guy. You a hat guy also?
I have them. I have them in my repertoire.
Okay.
But
okay.
That's it.
Nice.
Devin, we were talking off air. Devin doesn't like my strategy. She called me a parent.
Well, because you have to. Well, first of all, I hate whenever every year I ask my mom and dad, "Hey, what can I get you for Christmas?" And knowing what do you get parents, they already have everything that they need.
Right.
And it's always like, oh no, just your presents is fine. But that's so late. Everyone needs to open something.
I like your parents. My mom was like, "Look, I need this for my car. I need that for my car."
Well, look, if I ever make enough money one day, I'm sure my mom will start asking for stuff, but they know that I probably can't afford most of the things that they want right now. So they're like, no, just a card is fine.
All right, I get it. I can see that, yeah.
Come on, man.
So does your girl ever get you like clothing?
I like your way of thinking, though.
Not really.
There's a reason why she said
likes
that.
the way you dress then.
She does like the way.
Because that's it. If your girl ever gets you clothing, it's because they actually want you to dress better. So they're just going to buy you the clothing that they want you to wear.
I'm pretty detailed in my dress when I have to go places, so I'm pretty good on that. A coat though, she might give me a coat.
That's a good gift.
I don't have any real winter coats.
Okay.
I'll go out on the slightest thing and it pisses her off. So I can see her getting me a coat. I got a raincoat and then I got like a one of those super light.
What is this, your raincoat?
This is my raincoat. It's like she's like, that's not a real winter coat. That's a raincoat.
Yeah, that's not a winter coat.
No,
I use it as my winter coat. So, that's the situation I am. I know I'm a hard shopper. Everyone says it. Like, what the hell you want? I'm like,
I just get what I get, bro. Like I got a pretty good gift this year. I got a golf cart.
Oh,
really nice golf. Like
I feel like didn't Patrick Mahomes just get all of his offensive linemen?
Golf carts, yeah.
And I thought I saw
got his wide receivers nothing probably.
Kadarius Toney got coal.
IOUs. Yeah.
He literally just left a heaping pile of coal in Tony's locker, probably.
He gave
and none for you.
He gave Kadarius Toney some stickum. Get it together, kid. And said, hey, wear smaller shoes if you're gonna step over the line all the time. All right, Cardinals Bears. Let's get to it. The Bears broke some hearts last week. Sorry, Kev. The Cardinals, they ain't really playing for nothing, but they're playing for their spirits. Their roster spots next year. The Cardinals 3-11, Bears 5-9. It's at Chicago. Bears favored by 4 in this game. Over under 43.5. Dev, what do you like in this game that doesn't really count?
So Kev is gonna like this one. I like the Bears. I'm taking the Bears in this one. I think that each team doesn't really have much to be playing for. They're each going to be trying to get a read on their quarterbacks, though, seeing, which one is potentially the real deal or long-term solution. They're both dual threats. They both can throw the ball. They both are very mobile. And I think they're going to be kind of trying different things. So it could be a potentially underratedly fun game to watch. I just think that the Bears, have more pieces than the Cardinals do right now. And I think their record shows that. Look, you got 3-11 versus 5-9. Bears are playing at home. I'm taking the Bears plus the points.
I like it.
Barrett. I like it also. It's tough because I really don't want. Oh, it doesn't matter because the Cardinals they're bad anyway. So yeah, I would go with rushing yards for both quarterbacks. Going with the over. Justin Fields 57.5. Kyler Murray 31.5. Both quarterbacks are dynamic with their legs. So yeah, but also like James Conner 51.5. I don't know. Deontay Foreman, I'm gonna stay off that though. But once again, I'm gonna go with tight ends. Cole Kmet, 38.5. I like that. Trey McBride, 59.5. I like that also. So tight ends will always be my friend with receiving yards. Then after that, I'd have to say I'm gonna go with the Bears. Bears and the points. Going with Bears and the points.
Speaking of tight ends and props in this game, the Bears are not good against tight ends. Trey McBride has been doing pretty well for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So take his props. I believe he just had over 100 receiving yards in their last game. And the Cardinals' pass defense is giving up a second highest rate to quarterbacks. So if Justin Fields wants to show off what he's got through the air, could be a big game for him in that sense.
And your guy, Randall Moore. You rode with him last week. I was like, what? And he has been riding for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, DJ. Listen.
I was like, wait, who?
Yeah.
My fault. DJ Moore. DJ Moore.
The Bears are going to blow the Cardinals out.
You think? See, I don't know if it's going to be like a blowout. But
the Bears have been balling. In their last they're 3-2 in their last 5 games. The 2 games they lost were against the Lions by 5 and the Browns by 3, right? So they lost to 2 playoff teams that are going to have 11 or 12 wins on the season. That's their only losses. Everybody else, they've been beating and getting it done and doing what they need to do. DJ Moore has consistently gone over in his props. So consistently, every time Justin Fields is in a lineup with him, he goes over his props. 65.5, book it. Right? Justin Fields is playing good football. Hey, look, I forgot who it was. I think it was DJ Moore who said over the week, hey, Justin Fields better than any of these quarterbacks coming in the draft. So don't do it.
Yep.
I believe Kev, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was DJ Moore who said that. Listen,
I
he's
agree
better
with
than Caleb Williams. He's better than Drake May. So yes, he's been balling. They've been playing well. And
do you pay him though?
I would pay Justin Fields. I don't think they need to pay him right now.
They don't.
But I again, when he's been healthy this season, the Bears have won and looked great. When he was out, they couldn't win anything. So I think the Bears are going to win. And ever since Montez Sweat jumped in, they've been balling. Defense has looked good, really good. So again, this team over the last 5-6 games have played really well. They played like a playoff team over the last 5-6 games. But again, they were too far behind the 8 ball. And again, they should have won that game last week, but I think playing an Arizona Cardinals team that's bad, I think they continue to roll. I like what they're doing. I like how they're playing. Let's move on to the next game. Let's go to Cowboys-Dolphins. Maybe second best game this week. Cowboys-Dolphins. Dolphins favored in this game by 1. Both 10-4 teams. The over-under is 49.5. Cowboys got big wins the week prior, then wet the bed last week. All right, you don't know what you're going to get from the Cowboys. This is my fraudulent bowl. I'm going to be honest.
I was going to call this game the fraud watch because
I like it.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to find out who's the real fraud because they both kind of are. I think both of their weaknesses match up though. And look, we saw the Cowboys in a bad loss to the Bills because what the Bills do, they exploited the Cowboys' defensive weakness and that's running the ball down their throats.
Absolutely.
And the Dolphins, I think, are going to do just that. Sorry, I know you didn't come to me first, but I just
go ahead.
I started going.
You preaching to me right now.
Rock out.
Go ahead.
I like the Dolphins because even without Tyreek Hill last week, I mean, Jalen Waddle went off, but then Raheem Mostert scored twice on the ground. He's having an amazing season. This Dolphins offense can attack through the air, on the ground, and I think they will do what the Bills did to this Dallas defense. And Dallas, as we know, is not good on the road either. So I like the Dolphins winning, covering the massive 1-point spread that we're looking at. And I also like as many rushing props as you can get when it comes to Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, and by the way, but even the Dolphins haven't beat a team with an over 500 record yet this season. And the Cowboys have only beaten one team with over 500, beating the Eagles. Neither one of these teams have shown consistency when playing good teams. That's why whoever wins this game, I'm still not going to believe in you.
Right. Well, I was just going to ask, like, if the Dolphins beat the Cowboys, then is that going to prove anything?
No.
Right. It's not really going to change. It's the fraud. It's the fraud watch bowl, but like, it's not really going to change much.
Absolutely.
Regardless.
Yep.
Yeah.
And neither team can stop the run, so you got to go with the running backs, like you said. Raheem Mostert, 59.5. Tony Pollard, 54.5. Then after that, I do like Ferguson. Got to stay with my tight end. I like Ferguson, 43.5. And Tyreek Hill is playing, but I don't know about the 89.5. You know what I'm saying? Him coming off an injury like that. For him to just jump right in, because he didn't play last week, jumping right in and being that guy, that's a lot, man. That's a lot of yards and almost 90 yards on your first game back. But I will go with CeeDee Lamb, 89.5. Even though he's going against 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks out there, I still like his 89.5 because he's beaten consistently slot corners all day. So after that, man, it's tough to end.
I can see this game being an under. I can see it being a struggle fest where neither one of these explosive offenses are able to get off and show what they do.
Well, the Dolphins are also way more injured than the Cowboys are offensively. I don't know who's expected to play. Like, I haven't really heard too much as of now about the Dolphins, but like Devin, I can never say his name. Achane.
I don't think he's playing. Yeah.
Raheem Mostert did in practice, but I feel like I haven't heard anything about him not being.
No, he's playing.
To play. Yeah, I think he's still playing. He's in practice.
Rico, what's his name? Doodle. I like him, and he's only at
I have no idea who you're talking about.
He's running back for Dallas. 17.5 yards. He is a baller.
Not bad.
And they like to play him a lot, especially now going towards the playoffs because they want to try to rest Pollard a little more. And I can see Rico having a bust out game. So 17.5, that's an easy rushing bet for him. I'm
gonna pick the Cowboys in this game.
Are you?
I think they're gonna bounce back and not have the terrible game that they had weeks prior. They're an inconsistent team for a reason. I get it. On the road, they're not a very good team, but I think they're going to go into Miami and have a better game. And Micah Parsons their best player on the team is going to wreak some havoc. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game where both teams sort of struggle in this, you know what I mean, fraud watch, this fraud watch bowl.
Which is so ironic because they're two of the highest scoring teams throughout the season. Oh, Rico Dowdle. I was like, who is he talking about?
Dowdle. I don't know how to say his name. Dowdle.
You were saying Doodle. I was like, I've never heard
this
of
guy's a new
Dowdle.
New up and comer.
But I will say this. Just like they say Micah Parsons is that guy, on the other side of the ball, you know, I do like, you know, the defensive line of Miami also. So I think Miami, they can rush the passer also, man. So I'm seeing them, you know, Bradley Chubb having a great game against their offensive line. Great game going over Steele and playing against Steele. So
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Patriots Broncos. Yeah. See what's going on with the Patriots. But the Broncos still with playoff hopes despite an L last week. Still trying to get it done in this game. The Broncos favored by 7. You know why. Over under is 34.5. Ain't gonna be a lot of scoring in this game.
You gotta go with the under. Easy.
First thing I want to bring up in this game is Sean Payton talking to Russell Wilson the way he talked to him on the sideline. And I know coaches yell at each other a lot, and they yell at players, and players get into it. But I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. And again, I've never been in this experience. I'm not a, I didn't play football like that. I'm a hooper. And as a basketball player, it was like, you ain't talking to me no kind of way.
No question.
Like, it was like, watch your mouth. And I can't believe that relationship's going to continue after this season. I know Russell Wilson has all that money, and Sean Payton just got all that money, so it's a marriage that sort of has to work. But you ain't gonna talk to me no kind of way with those television cameras right there,
bro.
So how does
I don't give a damn if the cameras was right there or not.
Yeah.
If we in a closed door, you're not talking to me like that.
The core of future Hall of Famer at that.
No, da.
So how does that? What happens there? How does that break down? How does that get resolved?
It doesn't get resolved.
Or does Russ?
They just hate each other. They just hate each other and go about collecting that money. But those two will never. After that, I can't be your friend. You talk to me like that in front of people.
What did he say? I didn't.
Oh, I don't
like
know.
I
don't know what he said.
But the way in which you saw
it, screaming, barking in his face, and Russell just not saying anything and taking it.
Really?
And it was just like, whoa, like that is again talking to. That's an adult you're talking to. Right. Like I can't imagine. I know that happens in different lines of work, but usually when you show on the sideline and the coach is yelling at a player, they're yelling at each other.
No, not a player, but the player. Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen
the player that throughout the last few seasons we've heard more and more about his kind of diva, I am the star, egotistical tendencies.
Which that's why it threw me off. Over too well. That's why what threw me off though, Devin. He's one of those guys who need his own private office and all that stuff, and then to have him being talked to like that by a head coach.
Maybe he needs that. Maybe that's what Russ needs.
Yes, he does. Yeah. I bet he went home and told his wife.
I'll be curious to how that turns off. Listen, we got 1 minute. I assume everybody's on the Broncos. Are there any props that you would take in this game?
Yes.
What would you take, Dev?
I don't see the number posted yet, but Ezekiel Elliott over rush yards. He's expected to play, right?
Yeah.
Injured. The Broncos' run defense gave 185 yards, over 6.5 a carry, and a touchdown to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery last week. So if they have a weakness, it's on the ground. I still think the Broncos are going to win. But if you want to take a prop, take Zeke.
What about you, real quick, Barry? You got any one prop that you want to?
Not really. I'm not touching that game because Belichick's kind of checked out. He knows he's gone. You know what I mean? And just like you said, everything that happened, I'm just going Broncos.
Which is why I feel like he'll just be like, run.
Yeah.
Just run. I don't care.
And we're back. Sunday spread. Christmas Day games. Let's get to it. Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, Devan Kaney, presented by BetMGM. The first game, Raiders-Chiefs. Raiders-Chiefs in this game. Again, the Chiefs, you never know what you're going to get with this squad. The Chiefs favored in this game by 10. The over-under is 40.5. Dev, I'll start with you. You want to say it's obvious that the Chiefs are going to win, but I feel like you just never know what you're going to get with the Chiefs nowadays.
Yeah, but I also feel like the same can be said for the Raiders. They're not as good as a team, especially on paper, as the Chiefs, but then they come out and put up a bunch of points on a lesser team, but still an impressive feat. I just feel like we're all expecting and waiting for the Chiefs to finally, especially offensively, start clicking and start getting hot at the right moment. But like it's week 16 and that hasn't really happened yet. Like they beat the Pats, but it wasn't necessarily a super impressive win.
Game.
I like the Raiders covering. I think the Chiefs will win, but I just think 10 points is a really big spread. So I think that the Raiders can keep it closer than that. I just don't think that the Chiefs offense has it this season.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy to say.
It's true, but
it's crazy to say. But
about.
Look, like we're in week 16. Like I said, I just don't. It might be too late for them to turn things around. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, depending which way you look at it. So I like the Raiders covering that 10-point spread.
And it's tough. I look at the Chiefs and the Eagles who made the Super Bowl the same way. I think the entire season people have been saying, well, they're going to get back to who they are, right? Like we're looking at last year and saying they're going to get back to it because that's who they are. They're better than how they're playing. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's December now. So now you got to go, okay, forget about last year. This is who you are this year, and that's what the Chiefs have been this year. Mm-hmm. Like your lead receiver last year was Shoo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yep. TikTok boy. And they were able to win the Super Bowl and have enough offense week after week. And
I hate Juju.
And now this year,
who does he play for now?
He plays for the Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots.
Is he injured? I feel like I haven't seen like any.
Well, that's because their quarterbacks suck.
It's because he's Juju. Okay, that's why you weren't going to hear about him.
He just so much louder when he
was exactly. You weren't going to hear about him all year long, and they upgraded with Rashee Rice in that position, who's a very good young rookie. But again, the Chiefs just ain't got it. Like their wide receivers just ain't got it, and we've just been hoping that it's Pat and Andy Reid. They're going to turn it around.
Well,
but Barrett, are they going to turn it around?
I think they will, just because I love their running game. Isaiah Pacheco, 64.5.
Pacheco's very good.
Very, very good. They found a down in the rough with him.
Jersey school.
Yep. And then from there, I would go with, once again, a tight end game. You got Travis Kelce, 65.5. He'll get that. Then you got Jacoby Myers, really good tight end for the Raiders. Has stepped up, become that dude. Not Jacoby Myers, but Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer, Notre Dame. Balling thus far. So 26.5, I think that's an understatement. He should have way more than that. And then Noah Gray. Nobody really talks about him. He's Kelce's backup, but he's consistently came in and been that other wide receiver.
Especially when Kelce's completely covered, you can always count on Noah Gray and his total is usually pretty low.
Exactly. So 11.5, I'm going with that all day. So I got my fascination with tight ends with all the prop bets, and I go with that.
Pause.
But
That was one.
Right. That was a pause. Yeah. But but then we also know that Patrick Mahomes is gonna go with the only real receiver that he has besides a tight end is Rashee Rice.
No, that was.
I had to pause.
That was an A1 won by Dev. Right? That was.
Yeah, that was at the perfect timing. Perfect timing. Yes. But I wouldn't touch anybody else as far as these prop bets. I might go with Hunter Renfrow, 17.5.
I always forget Hunter Renfrow plays in the NFL.
Right.
I don't now that he doesn't do anything. I just feel like we don't talk about him. Maybe it's because the Raiders are.
He used to be the most consistent guy ever.
Yeah.
He's lost on his team because they don't have the quarterback. Even when Derek Carr was there, he would consistently get some work and consistently get some yards. But obviously, it's Aiden O'Connell, who's a pretty good rookie, who's played pretty well, but just not well enough. Again, I have the Chiefs.
You go with Devontae Adams? At this point I would touch with 65.5 just because they have Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, it's been incredibly inconsistent. But who I will go with, who's been making me consistent money, is Rashee Rice. He's the only wide receiver on the outside that Mahomes believes in. Right. He's the only guy who ain't out here making drops, getting drops and doing things dumb. Right. So Rashee Rice has consistently played well as a young rookie. So 64.5 is something I'll take in this game. I think he'll get that, and everybody else is kind of like right, because of how the Chiefs have played, because of their inconsistencies. You used to be able to say Pat Mahomes 300 yards, that's a guarantee. But now I'm looking at his 268.5. I'm going, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know who's gonna.
He's still dropping dimes though. He's still dropping dimes. But they're dropping it.
And again, exactly, that's the problem because Pat, again, it's crazy with Pat. It's the Michael Jordan effect to me, where it's just like he can be the best player every year, but no one pays attention to him. And when he has a down year, it ain't really a down year if you look at the stats, because he still has like the third best QBR in the entire league. Like he's top 5 in quarterback ratings. So he's still giving you top elite quarterback numbers, but he doesn't have a wide receiver to make it so he has, 40 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Andy Reid's being pig-headed, man.
Yeah.
Why do you not bring him in guys that can play, man? That's ridiculous.
Again, you had DeAndre Hopkins, and you didn't freaking take him. You know what I mean? He was right in your hands, and you could have took that. Next game, the big game, Giants-Eagles. The biggest spread of the week, 13.5. Tommy 2 times, I like to call him. Tommy 2 times, Tommy Cutlass. Came back down to earth last week. Again, this should be a absolute blowout. The Eagles are scuffling at the same time. Now, again, obviously I have the Eagles winning this game. Devin, I'll start with you. But how are you feeling about the Eagles? What do they need to do to right the ship?
That is the question. I think the Eagles will win. I think that they'll win by I just don't know if 13.5 is the right number. Like, I could see the Giants. I could see the Eagles like winning by 10, then the Giants scoring like a late field goal or something to cover that spread. Like 13.5 is just really big, especially considering we haven't seen the Eagles win by that much this season. It seems like all their games have been closer than we'd like them to be. I think that moving Matt Patricia to the defensive coordinator position is the right move, even though I know we're not technically saying that, but we all know what it is. Yeah. I do think that he is going to be the better defensive play caller than Sean Desai was. For me, the big concern is offense, and it's Jalen Hurts, who I know he was sick against Seattle, but just hasn't looked right. He's got to get the turnovers under control. And the plays, they just have to get more creative when it comes to play design, which, it's week 16. Like, it might be too late for that. But the good news is they're now through the gauntlet, and the Giants are not a very formidable opponent. They still are 10-4, hopefully 11-4 after this week, and they can start to kind of right the ship as they go into the playoffs. So is all hope lost? Are we in panic mode here in Philadelphia about the Eagles? No. I mean, some people probably are. I think that these last 3 games will be, a blessing and necessary for them to kind of get right before the postseason.
Barrett, what you got?
I'm going Eagles win, but the 13.5, I think this is like my
why is it so high?
Right. Like, what have we done to garner that type of hype? But
what does Vegas know that we don't?
Or it must be that the Giants are just that bad, and I can see that.
The Giants are that bad.
Just like rushing yard, Saquon Barkley, 54.5. You got to get him off GP. You got to get that to him off GP because, they don't have anything else. They have no other weapons that they can really rely on and be responsible for. I'm even saying receiving yards, A.J. Brown, 78.5. That's still, them being able to effectively run a passing game at this point. So, I guess I'll go with, once again, my tight end bets. Dallas Goedert, 40.5, and Darren Waller, 37.5. My old faithfuls. But after that, to me, it's really up in the air.
I do worry about Darren Waller because, he's coming back. He's a new addition in a sense to their offense, and the Eagles have not been good at stopping opposing tight ends.
We're not been good at stopping
anyone, but but tight ends have been lighting the Eagles defense up.
Lighting them
middle
up.
Of the field. Also, Kevin, our producer, said this somber tone Devin is using while talking about the Eagles is depressing. I'm sorry. In my defense, I'm really tired. I do a morning show. I've been awake for too long, guys.
But look, Kenneth
and
Gainwell.
The Eagles are depressing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Kenneth Gainwell, 21.5.
How could I forget? Boston Scott. Is Boston Scott going to...
The giant killer. They don't have him as far as his props right now, but they should.
Anytime touchdown.
We'd be foolish not to, pick that up. Anytime touchdown, foolish. You'd be foolish not to say that Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown, would also be a good bet. After that, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown is a good bet. So this will be the game for the anytime touchdown bets that I would go with, with those 4 players.
I'm gonna go with Saquon over 54.5 just because the Eagles rush defense has been porous over the last 4, 5, 6, 4 or 5 week stretch. So I think Saquon is going to, have some negative rushing plays, but he'll break 1 or 2 that are big to get him over that 54.5-yard mark. So I'm going to have that. Obviously, I have the Eagles winning in this game. 59% of the people said are betting that the Eagles will cover the spread.
Okay.
59%, and again, those aren't Philadelphia voters because Philadelphia doesn't feel confident in the Eagles to break any type of spread, but I think the Eagles break the spread also. I think they look good because they're playing such a bad team. I don't think the Giants will be able to do much. So I think the Eagles win this game. I would think they win it confidently, but not confidently enough for you to feel like they're turning their season around. But again, it's still a good team facing a bad team. So that's what I got. You know what I mean? It's, again, Saquon Barkley, 54.5. And Dallas Goedert, I think, will get some run in this game with 40.5.
I see.
Those are two individuals that'll play pretty well in this game. Let's get to the next one. Let's get to the 49ers Ravens. Best game of the week. The two number one teams, number one in the AFC, number one in the NFC, facing off, and it's the battle of the MVPs, in my opinion. You got Lamar Jackson, you got Brock Purdy, you have Christian McCaffrey. Whoever plays best in this game is going to potentially win the MVP, in my opinion. 49ers favorite in this game, 5.5, because it's at San Francisco. The over-under is 47. Barrett, I'll start with you. What do you think on this one?
This is a game that's going to eventually. They're saying that this is the Super Bowl pregame right here. You're talking about the two most consistent teams right now. You got to go with the Ravens and the 49ers. In saying that, you got to go with the rushing totals. And when you talk about rushing totals, Christian McCaffrey, 83.5. I'd even go with the over on that. Christian McCaffrey. I hate that I'm saying this stuff about your team, bro. I mean, about Brock Purdy and this team, Gus Edwards, 39.5. I think that's a safe bet because they're going to try to run the pill as much as they can. Lamar Jackson, 59.5. That's a sure bet because he'll be running for his life with that defense. But in saying that, as far as receiving props, Brandon Ayuk, 63.5. I think he's going to be the only guy that's going to get off. I'm not going with Deebo Samuels at 60.5. I'm going to go with the under with that because they are going to pay so much attention to him. George Kittle, this will be the first time that I said George Kittle will not get over 47.5. Those linebackers are too good. So I'm going with the under with that.
That might be the first tight end prop that you've given where you're saying the under.
Exactly. But I'll go with Isaiah Likely, 36.5.
Oh, I like that.
I like that also. Mm-hmm. I think he gets over. So this is one of those games, man, but probably be the best game we have going on this weekend. It might be one of the best games of the year. So, yeah, I'm going with it. I'm going with 49ers, but I'm not going with the points.
Okay. What do you got in this one, Dev?
I'm excited for this game. I actually have the opposite take on the points total, though. I think it's going to be lower scoring just because I think both their defenses are good and their offenses, match up well with the opposing defense. I just don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game. I think the 49ers are going to win and probably cover that spread, as much as I hate to say that, mostly because of Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's just playing out of his mind right now. I mean, he's an incredible player to begin with, but it feels like this season he just has all the confidence in the world.
Right.
He's averaging almost 117 rush yards per game over his last 4 games. And if there's a weakness in Baltimore's defense, it's their rush defense. So I think that the 49ers can exploit that. And even if it's with like Deebo Samuel, who they use, as a running back sometimes, I just think that they have more lethal weapons on offense than the Ravens do. So even though it pains me to say this, I think the 49ers will win and cover the 5.5-point spread.
Yeah, 49ers win by double digits.
Damn.
Double digits?
Yeah. They win by
double
digits 10. So, you know what I mean? Like, they'll win by double digits because that's what the 49ers do. The Baltimore Ravens have these lulls offensively, right? They're not this big, explosive team offensively. They go through halves and 3 quarters where they just can't get anything against normal defenses. And they can't go through that lull against the San Francisco 49ers. And the San Francisco 49ers is bringing in a defense that will make you have a lull. I actually think he's going to have a hard time running the ball, Lamar Jackson, because the 49ers had that practice on Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. All right, and rushing a certain way to not give up lanes and not let the QB go outside. They don't have Keaton Mitchell, who's injured, so that was their one explosive play that they're not going to have, right? So that takes away a big weapon. I just think the Ravens don't have enough weapons.
They don't have Mark Andrews.
They don't have Mark Andrews. They don't
That's
have enough.
That's big right there. Mark Andrews thing was the only thing that's keeping that team from being the best team, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL right now.
They just don't have enough weapons, and the 49ers offense has just been it's been juggernaut-like, right? Like, because Kyle Shanahan is able to create so many wide open situations. And when Brock Purdy has to make a play on his own, he's been able to make those plays. So I just think the 49ers, it's just too many weapons. Again, if they're healthy, I think they continue to steamroll. I don't have the Baltimore Ravens as the best team in the AFC, quite frankly.
Once
they get to the playoffs, I still like the Kansas City Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens.
Really?
Yes, I do. And surprise, surprise, I like the Buffalo Bills.
I like the Bills.
To me, the Buffalo Bills, if they get in the playoffs, and we'll talk about this later, if they get in, they have the highest ceiling out of anybody in the AFC.
Yeah.
By far.
I don't think that's
so. That's the Ravens. I think could lose to several teams.
The reason I'm telling you, I asked that because I just think because their running game is totally evolved now and become something they can rely on. So that's what's making the Bills such a good pick.
But they can do it with the running backs. They can do it obviously with the quarterback. They got wide receivers. They got
tight
defense.
end.
They have every layer. It's all on Josh Allen not making mistakes. So again, I think the Baltimore Ravens have played great, but I think they are the potential to have a first round knockout. Like they've had so many times in the past. To me, they're nothing different from what they were in the past, where they would have great records and then get knocked out in the first round in the divisional round. I think a similar thing can happen to them this year. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to have your best bets. We're going to have there's some people where divisions are still up in the air, right? There's some situations where the division's up in the air, including in the NFC East, so we'll take some props and futures on that. All right, Sean Bell, Devan Kaney, Barrett Brooks, the Sunday Spread.